Welcome into the Moi Ploy Boys Dynasty Podcast, the greatest podcast that you didn't want or ask for. And now introducing your hosts, Jake the Gluten-Free Karras and Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell.
What's up, my homies, and welcome into the Moi Ploy, the podcast allegedly hosted by two people, but there's only ever been the one, the only, the Gluten-Free Karras. What's up, boys? The playoffs are upon us. Let us take a quick look, and we're going to do a couple of things on this episode here. We're going to break down the end of the season, how it shook out, why it shook out the way that it did, and hopefully dole out some lessons to learn for next season. All right, in the matchups this week, Eddie Disler barely escapes defeat at the hands of Moa by a score of 133.9 to 134.7, less than a singular point. Eddie, you lucky bastard. All right, then we've got Tom, the Iceman, taking down Team Juan Solo, getting absolutely fucking clobbered. This game was more one-sided than the games where the opponents were intentionally trying to lose. Think about yourself, Juan. Think about yourself. Then we have Jim Mertz putting the spanking on Jordan Chall and knocking him out of the playoffs. Wap, 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 wap. Next up, Razor 45 Scott's Tots against Rich's Bunch of Bums. Ray spanks Rich's Bums 120 to 177 or so. Then we've got Hot Sizzle folding over like a cheap suit going down like a prom dress. I think I mixed them up, going with both of them. Anyways, Brett gets a free win and he's in. So how does this shake out? Well, Jordo fucked it all up and lost his spot in the playoffs. Unbelievable, Jordo. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at how Jordan managed to pull this off. Week 1, Jordan crushes Team Fitzgerald. Great job, Jordo. Week 2, goes down to Hot Sizzle. Week 3, Jordan loses to Juan Solo. That's 1 and 2. Week 4, Jordan gets the win over Rich's Bunch of Bums, 2 and 2. Week 5, Jordan loses to Jim, 2 and 3. Week 6, Jordan loses to Tom, 2 and 4. Week 7, Jordan loses to Eddie, 2 and 5. Week 8, Jordan wins against myself, 3 and 5. Week 9, Jordan wins against Ray, 4 and 5. Week 10, Jordan wins against Brett. Now you're 5 and 5, Jordo. Congrats. Week 11, Jordan has got a winning record for the second time this season, but the first time since week 1, 6 and 5 against Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell. Week 12, Jordan gets a 7th win to go to 7 and 5 against Team Juan Solo, barely beating him by less than exactly 3.5 points. Here's where you fucked up, Jordan. You decided to make a trade and push your chips all in week 14. Instead of making sure that you beat the terrible Bunch of Bums, Rich's Bum. You didn't spank Rich's Bum the way that Ray did. You chose not to put your chips all in your pivotal Week 13 match against the pushover squad of Rich. How did this happen? Cortland Sutton left with an injury. You started Latavius Murray. Not much ceiling there. You started Paris Campbell. Not much ceiling there. Michael Pittman, also bad. You started two receivers on the same team. Dalton Schultz didn't have a good week. Justin Jefferson did fine, but not enough to carry you. T. Higgins did okay. Devin Singletary, Nick Chubb, Justin Fields, and Derek Carr. Things you could have done differently. In this Week 13 matchup, honestly, buddy, looking down at your scores, there is not, only if you had started Cole Kmet, I believe, over over Dalton Schultz, and I don't think anyone's going to be blaming you on that one. That's the only way I really think you could have improved your squad there. Now, the trade that you made was to acquire Chris Godwin. If you had acquired Chris Godwin, Chris puts up 14.3 points. You're probably replacing a Paris Campbell or Latavius Murray. I would assume you'd be probably replacing Paris Campbell, although you've been liking him. I don't know why, but and if that's the case, you're basically netting about 6 points, and that would have been enough to beat Rich. So if you traded for Godwin in that week instead, the week that you absolutely your highest chance of winning, also a week that you had to win, you, sir, are in the playoffs instead of on the outside like the sad boys looking in. Well, we sad boys do run this league, so let's do a team audit of Jordan Chall, 1988. But before we get into it, G Chall, we're going to be breaking down the projected draft picks real fast of the 2023 rookie draft. I have the 101 locked. Rich has the 102 locked. Peter has the 103 locked. Jordan has the 104. The 105 through 110 are all up for grabs. Now, when I say I've got, or those people have that pick, doesn't mean they own that pick. It means that's the draft position they have. I have the 101. I have Rich's 102. Peter has his own 103. Juan has Jordan's 104. Now, there are some pretty heavy dynasty implications here. If you look at Juan's team, we're going to be doing a draft break or a team audit on Juan pretty soon. Speaking of Juan, boys, you know what? I need to do this. I've been making drops for everybody. I hope y'all like them. I'm going to show them off real quick. Talking about Juan.
Juan.
I don't know who you are.
It's Juan.
I will find you.
It's not Juan.
Made me laugh. Watching it again could be a little racist. But, well, I don't know. The guy made the Vine. The guy made the Vine. I thought it was funny. He's not Juan. All right. Just going to shut my trap before I dig myself any deeper. Jim.
I don't know who you are, but you are not Jim. This is Jim.
I think that's the second time that someone says, I don't know who you are.
Juan.
I don't know who you are.
I don't know who you are.
Yep, confirmed. All right, next up we have got Brett Fitzgerald.
God damn you!
Brett. The old beaver killer, or beaver tranquilizer.
Beaver tranquilizer.
All right, and that's all the new drops. Peter's drop. Can't forget Peter's drop.
Peter, you suck. Peter, you suck. Peter, you don't do anything of value. Peter, you suck.
All right, that's all the new drops. I need to get one for Jordo. It's probably going to be a sad violin because, lordy, that sucks. Pushing all the chips in and missing the playoffs. All right, team audit of Jordan Chall begins now. We're going to talk about your draft picks, Jordo. These draft picks here, you've got the 2024 third. You have your own 2025 second, third, and fourth. And that's it. You've got 4 picks to your name. None of them have a ton of value except for your 25 second. I would hold on to that for as long as you can. And if I were you, I would be thinking about trying to get your 2025 first back. Let's talk about the team. All right. Coming up on injured reserve, you've got a couple of valuable pieces with Trey Lance and Rashad Bateman. Irv Smith, not so much, lost his job on his day off like a bum. Hassan Haskins has been healthy scratched. I think he was healthy scratched injured, not healthy scratch. Injured. And then the backup for Derrick Henry actually went down, so Hassan Haskins does have a chance to prove his mettle if he can get healthy. Trey McBride has been pretty disappointing, honestly, especially considering that they've lost their starting tight end, Zach Ertz. Kyle Phillips, he got a hamstring injury that has taken him out for like 2 months. Honestly, I don't understand what happened to his hamstring, but yikes. Then we've got Danny Gray, blazing speed, but he has run himself straight out of a job. And then we've got Devontae Price, who's also literally done nothing. So not much help coming for you from the taxi squad, but the injured reserve, I still believe Kyle Phillips could help. But I think he could also very much lose his job in the draft this upcoming year, as the Tennessee Titans definitely need help at wide receiver. I could see them drafting multiple. Let's see here. We'll go position by position, Jordo, you've got Derek Carr. You've got Ryan Tannehill. You've got Trey Lance, Kyle Allen, Mike White, and Justin Fields. Kyle Allen is nothing to me. Justin Fields, Trey Lance is a solid 1-2 punch. Derek Carr is definitely going to have a job at least for the next 2 to 3 years, most likely. And even if he ends up getting booted from Vegas, someone will pick him up. He will be a journeyman quarterback at worst. I think Tannehill's days are... I think his days are numbered. I think this might be one of his... he might finish this season and have one more before they replace him through the draft. Malik Willis... I don't know if Malik's going to be the dude. I don't know if he's going to be the answer or not. All right. Then we have So you got a solid foundation there with Trey Lance, Justin Fields. And I actually do believe in Mike White. I like Mike White. If you don't believe in him, send him my way. Let's talk price. And I like Derek Carr as like that solidified option there. I just lost your team there. So you got 3, and that's what you're looking for. Running backs, Nick Chubb. Excuse me, got the burps. Miles Sanders, Devin Singletary, Old Man Murray, Khalil Herbert, Kareem Hunt, Zamir White, Antonio Gibson. So you have a bunch of guys that don't have a ton of value. Jordo, if I'm you, I'm probably holding Nick Chubb for at least one more season. I'm definitely holding Sanders to see what happens with him in free agency. And because if he's still a part of the Philly offense, sign me up. Love Miles Sanders. Singletary, I'd be looking to trade immediately for literally anything you can get. Man's about to lose his job this offseason, most likely. The Bills have been trying to replace him. They haven't been able to. And it's not because Singletary's so good. It's because the people they are bringing in are so bad. Get rid of Singletary. Get whatever the heck you can for him as soon as you can. Latavius Murray, if any of these playoff teams need a spot start, sell him for a 2025 fourth. Sell him for just say, hey, give me, when the offseason rolls around, give me $30 fab in offseason fab money. That's what Latavius Murray is worth. So just he's barely startable and he's 32 years old running back. Heck no, get him off your team. Retooling for next year. If I were you, I'd be looking to package a Kareem Hunt, Zamir White. If there's another Khalil Herbert truther out there, I'd be looking to, I don't believe Khalil Herbert is going to be the guy next year. I mean, even if they don't re-sign David Montgomery, I just have a hard time believing in Khalil Herbert, a guy who gets absolutely no work on third down. This whole season, he's gotten through. He played 10 games. He has 7 targets through 10 games. He is abysmal in passing downs. If there's another Khalil Herbert truther, I would ship him off to him. Even if he does get the starting job, great, you gambled, you won. Then you get him off your team. because I don't think he's going to be a long-term option. And I'm afraid to say, Jordo, your team is balanced on a knife's edge at the moment. Let's talk about your receivers. Here is your true firm foundation. You've got T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin. I'd be shipping off Hopkins to a contender immediately. You don't need to eat that value decrease rolling through the offseason with him. He is producing. Let him produce on a contender's team and get the value of like a second and a third, 2 seconds, something like that for DeAndre Hopkins. I also am looking at your bench. You've got, honestly, Jefferson, Higgins, and Godwin is a great foundation that you can build around for the rest of your rest of this league's future for the next probably 5 years. Sutton, I've never been a believer in Cortland Sutton. I don't think he had his one rookie year breakout or sophomore year breakout, and really hasn't been the same since his injury. So I don't know, man. It feels like you got caught holding the bag with Cortland Sutton. I don't think you're going to find anyone who's going to give you more than a singular second round pick for him, and he's currently injured, not playing, so you're not going to be able to ship him off to a contender. Romeo Doubs, I'm definitely holding. Hard to say. David Bell, super disappointing rookie season so far. Not getting a ton of work, not seeing a ton of playing time, not really hyper involved. He's kind of like the sort of slot receiver. I don't know, man. Kind of a bummer on David Bell. I really liked him as a prospect. I don't think he's going to break 300 yards receiving this year. And historically, that means he is going to suck dick long term. So if you can find anyone to buy David Bell, if you can find a David Bell truther out there, I would ship him off for literally whatever you can get for him. Because is David Bell really, like, is someone who's not even spot startable likely in his second or third year? You know, at that point, you're looking kind of at like the career arc of speaking of, next on our list, a career arc of like a Josh Reynolds. Not really someone you like is part of the winning picture. So if you can take David Bell, turn him into a 4th round pick, hopefully this year would be great. If you can take David Bell, turn him into a 4th round pick, roll that pick, maybe you get another Romeo Doubs, maybe you get an Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe you get some actual valuable assets on your team, or later on when you're in a season where you're definitely trying to compete. I think you can compete next year. So next season, you could take that 4th round pick, if it's a 2024 4th, and you could turn it into a spot start at running back at some point if you needed if your injuries or bye week caught up to you, needed a spot start. Gibson, sorry, I'm jumping around. What to do with your running backs? Yeah, I'm trying to hold Kareem Hunt through this offseason, see where he lands in free agency. Sell him if there's enough hype. And Gibson, I'm probably just going to hold until he gets done with his rookie contract and see where he lands. Because I don't think anyone's going to give you much value for Antonio Gibson there. You might be able to sell him to Ray, who is the Brian Robinson owner. It'd be a good place for him. And Ray might be looking to secure his playoff run a little bit. So if you're going to do that, you should do it now before Ray gets knocked out of the playoffs. And you have Pittman. Okay, not bad. So you got Higgins, Jefferson, Godwin, Pittman as your core of young receivers. That's actually really strong. And then you combine Bateman with that. I personally do not believe in Bateman. I think he is going to be a wide receiver 3. Lucky to be top 36 every season. I don't believe in Bateman. So, yeah, you've got quite a good... Honestly, you should have made the playoffs this season. Probably over Ray's team. I think Ray got a little bit lucky. You got a little bit unlucky. But, you know, it really comes down to one tactical decision on pushing the chips in a little bit too late. And that's that, man. Rest of your team really is... I don't see anything of any real value. I would be selling your older assets to contenders this year, so that way your value, your team's value does not take too big of a hit in this offseason. Mostly trying to get rid of Hopkins in Singletary, and guys that are Latavius Murray, guys that are going to likely be replaced in the offseason that a team is trying to replace for a while. Blech. All right. Well, I've had enough of the sound of my own voice. I'm sure that you guys have too. I will see y'all in the next one.
Beaver tranquilizer.
Bye.